You feel like your own mind isn't on your side. The moment you try to think something positive, something hopeful, something forward-looking, fear shows up uninvited. Anxiety creeps in without warning. You overthink everything, spiral into worst-case scenarios, and then, almost inevitably, you ask yourself, why does this keep happening to me? Why can't I just be okay? But here's the truth you need to hear today. Your mind is not broken. Your brain is not your enemy. What's actually happening is that your brain is overprotecting you. It's trying to keep you safe. It's doing exactly what it was built to do, but it's doing it in the wrong way, at the wrong time, and in response to the wrong things. This is the core idea behind a concept called rewiring your anxious brain. And once you truly understand it, the way you relate to your own mind will never be the same. Inside your brain, there are two systems constantly running in parallel. One thinks, the other feels. One is rational, logical, and slow. The other is emotional, instinctive, and blazing fast. Problems begin when the feeling system starts outrunning the thinking system. When your emotional brain fires off alarms before your rational brain even has a chance to assess the situation. Here's what that looks like in real life. You're sitting in a room. You're safe. Nothing is wrong. The doors are locked. Your phone is nearby. There's no real threat anywhere around you. And yet, suddenly, your heart starts pounding. Your breath gets shallow. Your chest tightens. Your body begins reacting as though there's a danger lurking somewhere, as though something terrible is about to happen. But nothing is happening. Nothing is wrong. What you're experiencing is a false alarm, triggered by a brain that is wired to detect danger, even when there is none. Now think about this. If a fire alarm in your building kept going off every single day, not because of a fire, but randomly, without cause, what would happen? You'd start panicking every time you heard it. You'd start anticipating it. You'd begin living in fear of a danger that doesn't exist. And slowly, quietly, that alarm would start shaping every decision you make. That is exactly what anxiety does. That is exactly how it works inside your brain. Now here's where most people make the biggest mistake, and it's a mistake that keeps them trapped for months, sometimes years. When anxiety shows up, they fight it. They say to themselves, I shouldn't be scared. I need to be stronger. I can't let this win. They clench their fists, push the feelings down, and try to muscle through. But the harder they fight, the stronger the anxiety gets. Why? Because the moment you fight it, you're giving it attention. You're telling your nervous system, this thing is real, this thing matters, this thing is worth being afraid of. So here's the shift you need to make, and it's one of the most important things you'll hear today. Fear is not the problem. Being afraid of fear is the problem. You don't lose to anxiety. You lose to your reaction to anxiety. The anxiety itself? It's survivable. It always passes. But your reaction to it, the panic, the avoidance, the spiraling, that's what keeps it alive. The next time anxiety shows up, I want you to try something radically different. Instead of running from it or suppressing it, just stop, breathe, and say to yourself, all right, you're here again. Let's see what you've got. Don't run. Don't fight. Don't resist. Just observe. Watch it like you'd watch a cloud passing across the sky. You'll notice something remarkable. Within a few minutes, it starts to lose power. It starts to fade. It begins to dissolve, not because you defeated it, but because you stopped feeding it. You stopped giving it the fuel it needs to grow. And that is the most powerful secret about anxiety that very few people ever discover. What you run from chases you. What you face slowly loses its grip on you. Your brain runs on habits, but that can change. Now let's go a little deeper, because this is where things get genuinely life-changing. Your brain runs on habits, patterns, neural pathways that get stronger the more you use them. If you overthink every single day, overthinking becomes your brain's default setting. It's go to move when it doesn't know what to do. If you respond to every uncertain situation with fear, fear becomes your brain's automatic first response. But here's the beautiful thing. What has been trained can be retrained. That's what rewiring actually means. It doesn't mean becoming a different person overnight. It doesn't mean reaching some enlightened state where nothing bothers you. It means slowly, patiently, consistently teaching your brain a new pattern, a new response, a new default. How? Through small, consistent steps. When fear shows up, practice pausing instead of fleeing. When overthinking begins, catch it early and redirect your attention. When your mind starts painting the worst possible future, pause and ask yourself, is this actually happening right now? Or is this a story my brain is telling me? These small moments of awareness, practiced daily, are what slowly, steadily rewire your brain. And one day, you'll notice that the situation that used to paralyze you with fear no longer hits you the same way. It no longer shakes you to your core. That is real progress, not overnight magic, not a sudden cure, just slow, steady, real transformation. Now let's talk about the illusion that anxiety creates, because this is where it really tightens its grip on you. Your brain shows you the future, not the real future, but a version of the future soaked in fear. A future that hasn't happened. A future that may never happen. But it feels so vivid, so real, so immediate, that your body starts reacting to it as though it's already unfolding. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. Your mind races. And you think, I'm experiencing anxiety. But the deeper truth is this. You're not just experiencing anxiety. You're actively creating it through your own thoughts. Your mind cannot tell the difference between something that is really happening and something you are vividly imagining. If you rehearse disaster over and over again in your mind, your brain begins to treat that disaster as reality, and then your body responds accordingly. And this is where the most dangerous habit hides, the habit of what if. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if something goes wrong? These what if questions yank you out of the present moment and drop you directly into the center of your fear. They make imaginary threats feel absolutely real. Here's a simple truth. 99% of the things you're afraid of never actually happen. But you've already lived through them, in your mind, dozens, maybe hundreds of times. And that's what exhausts you. That's what drains you. Not real challenges. Imaginary ones. So here's a powerful technique. The next time your mind starts the what if spiral, interrupt it. Shift the question. Ask yourself instead, so what? So what if I fail? So what if people laugh? So what if it doesn't go perfectly? This question doesn't dismiss your feelings. It forces you to confront them with reality rather than fear. And when you do, you almost always realize, even the worst case isn't as catastrophic as your anxious mind was making it out to be. But why does your brain default to negativity in the first place? It's not because you're broken or weak or damaged. It's because your brain is doing its job. Its job, evolutionarily speaking, is to protect you, to scan constantly for threats, to prepare you for the worst. That negativity bias kept our ancestors alive. It helped them survive predators, famines, hostile tribes. But here's the problem. In today's world, real physical danger is relatively rare. And yet your brain is still running that same ancient software. It's still scanning for threats everywhere, even when the biggest challenge you're facing is a work email or a social situation. So what's the solution? Exposure. Gradual, consistent, intentional exposure to the things that scare you. If social interaction makes you anxious, start small, one conversation, one moment of connection at a time. If failure is your deepest fear, take small risks and let yourself survive them. Every time you face something that scared you and you come out the other side, your brain records a new lesson. That wasn't as dangerous as I thought. And slowly, your fear begins to shrink. There's also a trap that keeps so many people stuck. Waiting until you feel ready. Waiting until the fear is gone before you take action. But that's not how it works. Fear doesn't leave before action. Fear leaves because of action. If you wait for the fear to disappear before you move, you will wait forever. You have to learn to move while afraid. To carry the discomfort with you and walk forward anyway. That is what real confidence looks like. Not the absence of fear. The decision to act despite it. What you feed your mind shapes your reality. Let's talk about something most people completely overlook. Anxiety isn't just created by your thoughts. It's also created by your lifestyle. Think about how you start your day. Most people grab their phone within the first minute of waking up. Notifications, messages, social media, news headlines. And before the day has even properly begun, the mind is already flooded. Comparisons, pressures, information overload, and digital noise. You're exhausted before you've even gotten out of bed. Your brain isn't calm because you never give it the chance to be calm. Think of it like a glass of water you keep stirring. You can't expect it to settle if you never stop moving it. Every piece of content you consume is an input. Every comparison, every negative headline, every highlight reel you scroll through, all of it trains your brain to expect danger, competition, and inadequacy. And then you wonder why you feel anxious. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of negativity, fear, and comparison, that's what grows. Weeds, not flowers. But if you begin to intentionally feed it growth, purpose, calm, and meaning, your mind will slowly, quietly begin to heal itself. There's another trap here, one that feels like productivity but is actually avoidance. You're always busy, always doing something, always consuming something. Music, videos, scrolling, podcasts, something is always playing in the background. And the reason is simpler than you might think. You're afraid of silence. Because silence means being alone with your thoughts. And your thoughts feel dangerous. But here's the truth. Until you learn to sit quietly with your own mind, to face your thoughts without distracting yourself from them, you will never be able to control them. Healing doesn't happen in distraction. It happens in stillness. It happens in the moments when you're brave enough to just be present with yourself. Try this. Every single day, just 5 to 10 minutes. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just sit. Let your thoughts come. Don't try to stop them. Don't judge them. Just watch them. Observe them the way you'd watch cars passing on a street. You see them, but you don't climb into every one. Over time, you'll notice something extraordinary. Your mind begins to slow down on its own. The noise settles. The chatter quiets. Because for the first time, you've given it space to breathe. And here's one more tool that is incredibly underrated: breathing. Your body and your mind are deeply connected. When your body is tense, your mind cannot be calm. When your body is relaxed, your nervous system gets a signal that says, "We're safe. Everything is okay." So the next time anxiety rises, don't try to think your way out of it. Breathe your way out. Slow, deep breaths. Long exhale. Let your body lead, and your mind will follow. Now let's talk about one of the deepest, most liberating truths in this entire journey. You are not your thoughts. Let that sink in for a moment. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears the voice. You are not your fear. You are the one who observes the fear. The thoughts are events happening inside your mind. They come and go. But you, the observer, are constant, stable, always there. Right now, what's happening is that you're treating every thought as truth. If your brain says you're going to fail, you believe it. If your brain says people are judging you, you accept it. If your brain says something bad is going to happen, you brace for it. But these are just thoughts. They are not facts. They are not prophecies. They are electrical signals produced by a brain that is programmed to look for problems, even when there are none. Imagine if you stopped taking every thought seriously. Imagine if you let most thoughts pass through without reacting to them at all. 70% of your stress gone. Not because your life got easier, but because you stopped fighting shadows. Your brain is like a radio. It broadcasts constantly: fear, doubt, worry, self-criticism, comparison. It never fully stops. But here's what most people don't realize. You have a choice. You don't have to listen to every station. You don't have to act on every broadcast. You can hear the noise and let it be background noise. That is freedom, not the absence of difficult thoughts, but the ability to hear them without being enslaved by them. Now let's talk about something that quietly shapes everything: the way you talk to yourself. The words you use about yourself are not just descriptions. They are instructions. When you say, "I'm always anxious," your brain hears that as a command. When you say, "I can't handle this," your nervous system believes you. When you say, "I always fail," your identity starts to organize itself around that belief. But the reverse is also true. If you slowly begin to shift your language, even just slightly, your mind begins to shift too. Instead of "I'm so anxious," try "I'm noticing some anxiety." Instead of "I can't do this," try "I haven't figured this out yet." Instead of "I always fail," try "I'm still learning." These aren't affirmations. They're not just positive thinking. They're more accurate. Because you are learning. You are in process. You are trying. And the language you use about yourself either supports that truth or buries it. There's also a pattern that multiplies anxiety in a way many people never recognize: taking everything personally. Someone replies to your message late, and you think they're ignoring you. Someone seems distant, and you decide they must be angry with you. An opportunity doesn't come through, and you decide you're the problem. Every external event gets filtered through the lens of, what does this say about me? And that lens turns neutral situations into personal attacks. Here's a truth that sets so many people free. People are not thinking about you as much as you think they are. Everyone is navigating their own fears, their own pressures, their own inner noise. Most of what you're reading into other people's behavior has nothing to do with you. It's a story your brain created to make sense of incomplete information. So the next time you start spiraling into overthinking, ask yourself one simple question. Is this a fact, or is this a story I'm telling myself? Because most of the time, you're not reacting to reality. You're reacting to a narrative your mind constructed in 2 seconds flat. And that narrative is exhausting you. Here's another trap that deserves its own spotlight: the obsession with control. You want everything to go according to your plan. You want people to behave the way you expect. You want situations to unfold the way you've imagined. And when they don't, which is inevitable, because life is not a controlled environment, the anxiety spikes. Because deep down, the anxiety was never really about the situation. It was about your inability to accept that you can't control it. So here's a shift that changes everything. Instead of reaching for control, practice acceptance. Not resignation, not giving up. Acceptance, which means acknowledging what is, before trying to change what could be. When you stop fighting reality and start working with it, your mind stops burning energy on resistance. And the moment resistance stops, peace begins. Let's also talk about where anxiety actually lives, because it cannot survive in the present moment. It can only survive in the past or in the future. It lives in regret about yesterday and dread about tomorrow. In this exact moment, right now, what is actually wrong? Not in your imagination, not in your projection of next week. Right now, most of the time, the honest answer is nothing. My thoughts are running, but right now, I am safe. Practice asking yourself multiple times a day, in this moment, what is actually wrong? You'll be amazed how often the answer is nothing. And the more you anchor yourself in the present, the less power anxiety has over you. Because anxiety needs the future. Take away the future, and anxiety has nowhere to stand. If what you're hearing right now is resonating with you, if even one of these ideas has touched something real inside you, I want to ask you to do something. Hit the like button. It's not just a click. It's a statement. A statement that says, I'm done living in fear. I'm choosing to take back control of my mind. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, because this is a space where we don't just talk about motivation. We talk about real mindset shifts, practical tools, the kind of inner work that doesn't just make you feel good for 5 minutes, but actually changes the way you think, feel, and live. And drop a comment below. Tell me, what is one mental habit you're committing to changing starting today? Because when you write it down, you make it real. When you make it real, change begins. Now let's come back to something powerful, because understanding anxiety is one thing, but understanding how it controls you is something else entirely. You see, the game isn't being played out in the world. It's being played entirely inside your mind. The situations don't create your suffering. Your interpretation of those situations does. And as soon as you understand that, you stop being a player in the game and start becoming an observer of it. And that shift, from player to observer, is where everything begins to change. As you become the observer, you start to notice something profound. Before, every thought pulled you somewhere. Every feeling swallowed you whole. Now, you can watch a thought arise without chasing it. You can feel an emotion without drowning in it. You begin to experience your own mind with a kind of spacious awareness. And from that space, you can finally respond instead of react. But here's a trap that trips up people even at this stage. They start thinking, I should never feel negative again. I should always be calm. And the moment a difficult thought arises, they panic all over again. But that's not the goal. A perfect mind doesn't exist. The goal is not to eliminate difficult thoughts. The goal is to stop being enslaved by them. They can come, and you can let them pass without letting them run your life. Let's also talk about what real change actually looks like, because this is important. Real change doesn't announce itself. It's subtle. One day you notice that something that used to send you into a full anxiety spiral only creates a minor blip. One day you notice that you're recovering faster. Not that you never stumble, but that you get up quicker. One day you notice that you're no longer building entire catastrophic narratives out of a single ambiguous text message. These aren't dramatic Hollywood transformations. These are real. These are yours. And they add up. There's also a deeper permission you need to give yourself. You don't always have to be strong. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to feel weak sometimes. You're allowed to sit with discomfort without immediately trying to fix it. Because healing doesn't happen when you push through relentlessly. It happens when you stop fighting yourself long enough to actually feel what's there. Imagine this version of yourself. Your mind still produces thoughts, anxious ones, doubtful ones, fearful ones. But you're calm. Your body still has moments of tension, but you don't panic. Situations still challenge you, but you face them. You're still human, but you're no longer a hostage of your own mind. That's not a fantasy. That's not some enlightened state reserved for monks or therapists. That is genuinely possible for you. With practice, with patience, with daily small shifts. The most honest thing I can tell you. You've listened to everything in this video. Some of it clicked. Some of it maybe hit you somewhere deep. And that's real. That matters. But here's the most honest thing I can tell you. Knowledge that stays in your ears doesn't change your life. Knowledge that moves into your daily behavior does. You will need to practice this. Every single day, there will be moments when your brain tries to drag you back into fear, when it creates false alarms, when it whispers worst-case scenarios. And in those moments, this is your job. Don't run. Don't fight. Don't believe every thought it produces. Just breathe. Observe. Come back to the present. Ask yourself, is this real or is this a story? That's not a one-time practice. It's a daily discipline. There's no magic shortcut. There is no moment when anxiety permanently disappears and you never have to think about it again. But there is a version of you that grows more and more capable of handling it, that recovers faster, reacts less, and lives more freely. And every small step you take moves you closer to that version. Because the day your mind becomes calm is the day fear loses its hold on you. And the day fear loses its hold on you is the day your life starts to feel genuinely, meaningfully, sustainably lighter. Change doesn't come in a single day, but it always starts with one. If you begin today, even with just one small shift, a few months from now, you'll look back at yourself and think, I'm not the same person I was. And that will be the proof that it was all worth it. Now go. Your mind is waiting to be rewired.